All right, welcome everybody. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Play the Instagram Game, how to grow or boost your Instagram before a launch. My name is Marie, and I'm so grateful that you've taken the time today for your business and for yourself and for me to come and learn what I have learned about Instagram and how we can apply that to your small business, give your Instagram a little bit of a boost and get it all ready and engaged and get that community to rally around you before you launch a product or your business. Now, for those of you that already have a business and a well-established brand, I totally get it. You are more than welcome to be here too, but we are going to talk today about how we can work with Instagram, understand the algorithm, and just give a little boost, whether that's followers, likes, shares, comments, all of those little things to help grow your Instagram before a launch. And I just realized that there is a typo in this slide. And that just shows you that I've been looking at it for too long. I apologize for that. This meeting is being recorded. And I hope that if you are catching the replay, that you are so well today. If you have any questions that come up during this live today, you can pop them in the question box, or we can ask some at the end, or you can also email me if you would like to have a specific question answered. Now, because in the spirit of playing a game, Instagram is social media. It is marketing, but marketing and social media to me is designed to be fun. So we're going to play a little game ourselves. We might not play it live just because there's only a couple of people here, but if you would like to tag me, Mama Fairy, on Instagram when you're watching this or engaging with this content and tag me on your stories, I will have a look and put you all into a little raffle, and I can do a little social media Instagram magic and have a look at your content and see what we can do to inject some things directly and specifically around your content and your brand. So if you want to play that, tag me on Instagram while you're watching this replay. So I am Marie, and I have a background in education and marketing, as well as small business. So formerly Miss Fairy, I used to own fairy shops and birthday party venues, and I have evolved into that Mama Fairy. I have babies of my own now, and I have a product that is launching this year in spring, which is an Oracle card deck. And, if I was really clever in this masterclass, I would have a sales funnel all hooked up for after to give you 10% off pre-order or something. Now, all of that did cross my mind, but I just wanted to find my feet in this Instagram masterclass world and just have a straight class for sale that didn't have a sales pitch at the end. So if you're avoiding watching to the end, there isn't going to be a sales pitch at the end. But it is important to note that I was selling I had a product that I was creating, I was designing, and I wanted to grow my Instagram before the launch of that product. Now, I had a mentor, and I advise people to always work with mentors or talk with people that know branding, know business, know marketing, know Instagram like you're doing today. And my goal was to bring my Instagram following up to 10,000 followers. I was around 7,100 followers, and my account on Instagram was 13 years old. And I was going back and forth about starting a new account. I've done social media for businesses. I've had different businesses before where I have grown followers to about 3,000 or 4,000. And I just was sick of having this account for so long that just sat around that 6,000, 7,000 followers. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what they were doing. And I wanted that K next to my name. I wanted 10,000. And the reason I wanted that was because I was looking at the branding of my product, which is an Oracle card deck. I was looking at competitors, how they market this product, particularly on Instagram. And I wanted to have a sales be generated from Instagram so that people could buy my Oracle card deck through my Instagram and be directed to a website where I just would have one or two products. So the key focus for me was launching this one product. And I wanted people, when they engaged with a beautiful reel or they saw my Oracle card deck, that they would be directed to my Instagram page and I would be a reputable account or a trustable account by having 10,000 followers there. There was a little bit of ego, but also a little bit of, no, that's a secure brand. Now, that was my goal. And that was what I wanted to achieve. And to do that, I needed to study the algorithm. I needed to work out Instagram's algorithm, because how frustrating is it? I needed clear social media strategy. I needed a strategy because I believe in this world of social media and influencers and content creation, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all of these social media tools have been created. Essentially, in the beginning, it was to help us with social interacting, not help us, but I can live interstate from my family and I can post pictures of my children. I can show them what I'm doing in my work, and I can take a picture of my breakfast this morning and people can see that. And my friend might be like, oh, nice avocado on toast, or, and it encourages that social interaction. But of course, over the last decade, Instagram in particular has really, really grown as a marketing platform. Same with Snapchat, same with Facebook. And we can hone in on those skills and really use them to make our businesses work. So today, we are going to talk about so much. I have so much to say. I've got so much to say about Instagram and social media marketing. What I was saying was there is a bit of a stigma around this influencer. How am I using my account? Do I show pictures of my breakfast? Do I show pictures of my children? But I also want to sell this product, or I want people to come to me for massages, or I want to be their doula. How do I integrate all of this together? What is social media used for? And there was a little bit of me that when I wanted to grow my following, I was like, oh, I fancy that influencer life, But all of that, there is a negative connotation around. Some people really enjoy Instagram, not just some people, billions of people enjoy Instagram. They enjoy creating and they enjoy consuming. And that's why we're here today, right? We're going to use some of those. We're going to look at strategies and really boost that together. So that's just a little bit about me and what we're going to do in today's session. Hi, friend. Hello. I love seeing little faces pop up there. Perfect. So we haven't gone really far. We've just talked about myself, but today we're going to cover about Instagram. We're going to talk a little bit about Instagram and the algorithm, which can sound really, really boring, but we're going to talk about how we can utilize the algorithm and how it has evolved over time and how it can work for your business in particular, about you and your business, your target audience or your potential customers, who they are and what they're doing on Instagram, what you can do for them. Your goals for Instagram, being really, really clear about a strategy around content creation and what you actually want to achieve as you grow your Instagram, and how you can analyze metrics and tools for growth. This is my first time using Canva as a presentation. I feel really grown up. Really grown up, gone are the days of PowerPoint. Everything is just super fancy. All right, so Instagram itself, and it's important to start here. And I appreciate that learning about another business, which essentially Instagram is one of the biggest businesses on social media, can be a bit tedious. But it's important to start here because Instagram has evolved over time. Instagram, as I alluded to before, initially started, it was 2010, and it was a filter social social media platform where you could filter your photos and show that to people on social media. That's as simple as it was. There was no hashtags. And I was on the beach, you know, in Spain in 2012, downloading and putting filters on these cute little selfies, not even realizing then that perhaps someone else could see what I was posting. Quick delete. Don't scroll too far back on my Instagram. But that was what it was for. Users really liked this. You know, we were only just, if you're a millennial like me, you know, mid-30s, we only just downloaded Facebook and we were getting the hang of Facebook. And then we've got Instagram. And Instagram was different in the fact that we didn't have to post updates. We were posting photos and we were filtering them, and we were blown away by filters. It was within only a couple of months, Instagram got millions of followers. And it was very soon after it was acquired by Facebook. So Facebook obviously saw its marketing potential, and it was sold for $1 billion in cash and stocks back then in 2012. So we've come literally 14 years since then. Wow, I thought my account was 13 years old, but no, it's 14 years old. There we go. They immediately introduced hashtags as a way to find similar content. So if you were posting pictures about Spain on the beach, you might put a hashtag Spain, and people who like to look at photos of Spain may or may not find it and like it. I don't think there was a lot of focus on likes back then. Instagram went along its merry way as a social media tool to connect with your family and friends until about 2013 to 15. There was a real push in advertising. And you would have noticed this in particular on Facebook. You know, there was always those posts about, oh, Facebook's just going to steal your photo, and it's all going to be about marketing and selling you something. You know, we were really apprehensive about that when it first came to light. But then as time has evolved, we really entered this world of creating and selling, but also consuming. You know, we are consumers. And so Instagram had to come to that party and create content, create things that would help sell your product or have people interact with your product, and of course, have you buy the products from them. It wasn't until 2018 that the success of Snapchat brought stories to Instagram. So before that, there was no stories, and I can't actually quite remember Instagram before stories because we utilized them so much. But that was in direct competition with Snapchat. Stories disappear after 24 hours. We also now have the feature that you can send photos and they will disappear after the person opens them. This was also the time, so they brought out stories, but they also brought out business profiles as well. So you could have a business profile instead of just your regular Marie, this is Marie and this is what I had for breakfast account. And that was a really big moment for Instagram. So it meant like huge big businesses, Nike, Telstra, you know, all of those businesses sort of jumped on board and realized that we can use this for selling and for advertising. In 2018, the algorithm changed. And again, people probably remember this. So prior to 2018, so for a long time, Instagram was prioritizing content in a chronological feed. So the most recent things of the people that you followed would come up first. It seems the obvious way to get content to come out. Whereas in 2018, 2019, 2020, the algorithm really, the software is becoming more and more exciting. There are more developments. So there is now an algorithm-based feed that prioritizes content based on user engagement. So you will see if you like one thing, it will continue to show you similar things as you go through. And that is the algorithm that we know today. That was introduced prior to Reels. Now we have Reels, and that was in direct competition with TikTok. Reels were launched on Instagram, was a 15 to 30-second video that you could post, and that was hugely successful. Hugely successful. People loved Reels, both influencers, content creators, and anyone. They were all loving the Reels. And around this time, that innovation around marketing and AI and the algorithm is slowly building. So the reason I've given you that little brief history of Instagram is because it brings you today where we have all of these different features of Instagram. We've got Reels, Stories, TikToks. We don't have TikToks, Reels, Stories, carousels, TikToks. I have got TikTok, and we could apply the same strategy. I'm going to talk later to TikTok. But TikTok is a little bit different, in my opinion, in how it influences people to buy things. TikTok users don't like to be sold to. It's a different world. We can talk about TikTok another time. Not sponsored by Instagram, of course. But the reason what we've spoken about all the features and when they came up is that as we now come into 2024, we've got AI-driven features, and we've got increased analytics. So now marketers or people that use social media for marketing, for their beautiful products, for their amazing services, we can use the analytics really, really well and get a clear understanding of who's engaging in our content and what they want from us, essentially, and how we can use all of those different features of Instagram to achieve our goals. Alrighty, so I already touched on the algorithm before, and I hope that green screen isn't too matrixy. Those that know will know. But it's important to understand not just how the algorithm, not just for us and how we create and what we need to know about the algorithm, but understanding the algorithm will show you how your customers engage with content and how they use Instagram, how often they're opening their app, how often they're scrolling, what content they're engaging with. So the algorithm now, and from, like I said, about 2018, the algorithm determines the order and presentation of posts in a user's feed based on various factors. And the fun part, and probably the reason you're watching this class, is that it is constantly changing and upgrading based on the software and AI algorithms. The factors currently include behavior, user engagement, and content relevance. So I'm hoping it's here. I don't have a lot, the teacher in me is like, oh, I don't want to put too much text on a screen. But then I'm like, are people actually listening to me, or do they want to read? All the learning is happening today. Appreciate you all. So the algorithmic feed, 2016, this is where we're at. It's changing all the time. I'm just going to move this little box. I wonder if that moves on the live recording. Maybe down here, maybe up there. All right. Oh, that's pretty. The Instagram's current algorithm. So there are 6 things. And in my little study of the algorithm, plus a bit of research, a bit of reading, a bit of AI, there are 6 things that the Instagram will use to prioritize the algorithm. So the first one, we have interest, and we also have predicted interest. So Instagram will predict, if you post something, whether people will be interested on it. And the way that they predict that is based on what you've already posted and the engagement that you have. And that's why when I had that clear strategy on how to grow my own Instagram, I was able to go back and look at the content that did well and use that to build new content, because the algorithm is now predicting so when people say, oh, the algorithm hates me, they might be not totally incorrect right now. And I say this with love, the algorithm might hate you, but also have a look at the content, have a look at what you're posting. The timeliness of your posts, so newer posts are given priority over older ones. So pretty much anything you've posted like more than 3 months ago, it's gone. It's gone into Instagram land. I'm sure if someone really wanted to scroll through and look at all of your posts, they absolutely could. But in terms of the algorithm, it's gone. You will see some things pop up again. And often if something becomes in fashion again, you know, I remember, like, for example, there's a Netflix show, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, very popular at the moment. You've seen the resurgence of the AC/DC song. You know, it's getting more streams on all different platforms, and all of a sudden that becomes a trending audio. So the recency of posts will be determined by the algorithm, but there are trends that come and go, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. The frequency of how much you post. This is actually, no, before that, relationship, apologies. The relationship that you have with the content creator will also determine the algorithm. So if you're chatting with someone in their DMs often, if they like everything, if you like everything that they do, the algorithm will take that into account as well. Okay, so that relationship is really important. DMs, I used to think were a bit of a like, why are they here? But the more you're interacting with someone, the more the algorithm will show you their things. And as a customer as well, the more you're interacting with a brand or something like that, the more you will see it. And that's why sometimes you'll go, oh, I followed that company or I followed that person and I haven't seen them online for a while. And it's probably because you haven't interacted with any of their content later. They'll think the algorithm sucks, and it does a little bit, but Instagram is very much about community. They really want people to interact with each other, probably all the time, even when we're asleep. Then we have the frequency. So even in my phone call with Meta on the phone with their marketing person, when they called me after noticing all my hard work, the algorithm will adapt based on how often you use the app, which I just want to say, a bit like there's a negative connotation with the influencer culture that I alluded to earlier. There is also, particularly in that soul-led holistic word, you know, very much put the phone down. Instagram is bad. It's this comparison culture. It's making you feel bad. And by all means, if it does make you feel bad, put the phone down. I am 100% attesting, put the phone down, spend time in nature. If you look at my feed, I'm always outside. But I also think there's nothing really wrong with using Instagram and admitting that we like Instagram, because everybody does, and not just everybody. I mean, billions of people are using it. And even if you're going to only use it for business, that's absolutely amazing. We can clearly define that in a strategy for you so you have more time. But I just think that there is something about the world. I just want to say Instagram is clocking how often you scroll, and they are looking at how many times you open your app, at what times you're opening your app. So if you put the children to bed and then you lay on the couch exhausted because it's taken an hour, and you open your phone at the same time every day, the algorithm's going to be like, right, Marie gets on the couch and she wants to doom scroll. What can we show her? What can we show her that's really, really amazing? So we've got interest, recency, relationship, frequency, the amount of accounts that you follow. Of course, if you follow 10,000 accounts, Instagram's going to have a great selection of things to show you, and it will apply the above things to it. They'll go, well, what does Marie sitting on the couch at 8 p.m. really want to see? What does she always like? What's going to get her going? Oh yeah, there's a launch of a new product coming out and she's bought from this place like 3 times. It's going to show you those things at that time because it's prioritizing all of the things above following. And I've already talked about session times, but yeah, the amount of time a user spends is documented. Sorry, everyone. That might be alarming. But anyway, here we go. So we've got these 6 features of the current algorithm, and this is the most dense part of the presentation, I promise. We'll get to the good stuff. It's important to understand these things because as well as those top 6 things that Instagram will feature into their algorithm, they will also prioritize things like content quality. So high quality visuals are more often than not favored by the algorithm. And you'll see those accounts. Those are the accounts with the beautiful, Scottish Highlands with just a very basic quote on the top. And I don't know if you have, I've sat there sometimes wondering, I'm looking at that, it's been shared a million times. It's got all these likes. There's no point to it, but Instagram is going to favor it because it's just got that high quality visual and people are enjoying it. So it's just going to keep pushing it out. It's going to keep pushing it out while it's relevant. Engagement is super, super important, which is why you'll see the emergence of automation comment software, because the algorithm doesn't care what you're commenting. And people will often say, and it's true, if someone comments on your reel, give them an authentic reply. Don't just give them an emoji. In my experience, that is so true for community engagement and building that customer. But essentially the algorithm doesn't care because it just thinks that you're commenting a million times. So again, that's going to push that out, that engagement. Comments, likes, shares. I used to think that shares were the most important one. Now I'm leaning towards the algorithm likes comments at the moment. I think it's just always changing and you've always just got to be playing. Consistency is one that on my phone call with the Instagram marketing girl, she told me that consistency was key. So in my initial strategy, I was posting a lot, 2 to 3 times a day for the first week. And then it relaxed to like 3 times a week or whatever it was. But she really wanted to hone in on those consistent times. And you will see accounts that will post at the same time every day. And the algorithm does like that certainty. We can talk about whether or not as a customer or as a business owner, we have the time to do that. Probably not. I don't do that. I just know around 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., if I post something, hopefully the algorithm will throw it out to people that have already engaged in that time slot. But the algorithm does like consistency and it does like you to go hard, which I was nervous about saying because, there are so many social media marketers that will say you only need to spend 10 minutes a day creating content. And while that can be true, that is true, when you're applying a direct strategy to social media marketing, particularly before a product or a launch, again, there's this negative connotation with Instagram and with social media that it's ruining our lives. And trust me, I could talk about that forever. I agree and disagree. But in terms of social media marketing, we seem to put so much effort into every other avenue of our business. We take seriously marketing from if we're marketing, if we're in a shop front and we're selling a product, we're going to put a strategy in place. If we're going to sell a course, there's going to be a strategy in place. We've got SEO marketing, we've got emails, we've got so many things, but because it's social media, oh no, I can't spend a long time, it's sucking my soul out. It is still your business. And I think that it deserves the amount of energy and strategy that you would like to get the results. If you want to keep posting your breakfast on your stories, do it. Absolutely. There will be people there that are like, yes, what is Marie having for breakfast today? She can't afford that avocado. That is so okay. But I don't think there's anything wrong with defining a clear strategy to engage the algorithm if you would like to boost your Instagram. So finally, down here, we've got our use of features. Instagram loves it if you use everything. Reels, stories, carousels, IGTV. I've never used that, but lots of people like live things. Hashtags are still being pushed and promoted. And I have experimented with this a lot. A lot of people love hashtags. A lot of people don't love hashtags. There's something going around at the moment that like Instagram hides hashtags, like Bookstagram is a hidden hashtag. I've seen that on Threads recently and I'm like, is it? But I don't, and people are looking for these reasons why the algorithm isn't pushing their stuff. It could be true. I'm not sure. On my phone call with Meta, they said that hashtags were still important. So I don't think there's anything wrong with just putting 4 to 6 at the end of your post. I don't see it doing any harm. And yeah, so that seems like a lot of information. And as I said, talking about the algorithm and Instagram itself and this part of what the algorithm likes is probably the most dense of this whole presentation. So if you got through that, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. And I was so conscious that this bit would be like, oh, no one cares about the algorithm. But these are the things that are going to help you. Like I said, we're putting that same energy and intent into social media as we are doing every app of there. I just realized a thing. I'm ashamed that they know how much I know. I am ashamed of how much they know I open the app, because I think sometimes not sometimes, all the time, if I've put my phone down, then I've picked it up, the first thing I do is open Instagram for that little dopamine hit. And I'm like, are they counting every single time? Fun times. Yeah, you go to look at the time and you end up on Instagram. Yeah. And this is what I was saying before. Like, I don't want to go against the grain here, particularly in that holistic wellness world around, Instagram is bad, social media is bad. I get it. I totally get it. I'm on my phone too much. But in terms of growing my Instagram before the launch, before a launch, I really wanted to knuckle down and do it. I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if the algorithm would respond. I wanted to see, and I'm fully aware that my product, my Oracle cards, of all the followers I've acquired now, which is now at 21 and a bit this morning, 1,000 people. Of all those people, I'm not expecting many to buy my Oracle card deck, but that wasn't the goal then. Maybe my next class will be how to sell something, how to sell out with just 3 reels a week. I see those marketing courses all the time. I saw one the other day, it was like, make $10,000 from every reel you post. And I was like, I think you're just telling people that they can do that, and then they're buying your stuff, which is why you're making $10,000, but I'm not making $10,000. Good, kudos to her. But I think the reflection of that kind of marketing really is because people like Instagram, people want followers, people want views, and that is okay. I'm telling you, it's okay. If you need balance in your life, balance is good. But today, we're cracking the algorithm, we're cracking your strategy. I love it. It wouldn't surprise me if they're recording keystrokes and watching your eye movement. And I think about that often when I look at what the next update for Instagram will be, or like iPhones, when we can use our eyes to scroll and things like that. So interesting. Like I said, there's a rabbit hole for that. I'm here for it, but today we're honing in on your strategy for the algorithm. Let me see. I hope that chat box is not in the recording. Here we go. Now, business versus creator accounts. So I alluded earlier that Instagram only, I think it was 2016, launched their business accounts, and people got really excited, but particularly small business owners. As I said earlier, big companies like Nike, or I'm trying to think of a big company, Apple, Telstra, they were using business accounts because, they've got lots and lots of multi levels of management. Someone responds to all the Facebook complaints, someone responds to all the Instagram accounts, and business accounts on Instagram reflects those kinds of features. But as small business owners, and as someone that's had businesses before, I have used business accounts. We now are in that sort of influencer content creation. We are consistently consuming content. We are consistently producing content to be consumed. So the creator accounts have become super popular. What I think a lot of people aren't realizing is there really isn't a lot of difference, in my opinion, between a business account and a creator account. So the benefits of a creator Instagram account is that you've still got your advanced analytics. You can still look at the detailed insights on follower growth and content performance, including daily growth trends, demographics, and how followers can interact with your content. You can still see all of that. You can hide your contact information if you just want to be a creator that's not really in a selling phase. You can hide any contact information at the top or any call to actions. You can still schedule content on Instagram, so you can create 10 reels and schedule them to hit throughout the week. You can still do that on a creator account. There's also the Instagram Creator Studio, which I haven't played in a lot, but that is also something that is a little bit different. With a creator account, you have more enhanced messaging features. So you've got your primary and your general and your request inbox. You don't usually have that in a business account. It does filter spam, but it doesn't, it treats everything like a business request. Just imagine that Telstra person responding to all the Instagram messages and comments and complaints that they would probably get on their Instagram account. You know, we're not doing that as a business owner. The other big thing, because, you know, we want growth, we want our reels to do well, is that trending audio, again, if you're a business, you can't use audio, trending audios often. I talked earlier about, you know, the AC/DC song, Thunderstruck's now super, super big. I couldn't use that. I do have a business account as well because I wanted to run them side by side so I could see the differences between a content account, a creator account, and a business account. I can't use those trending audios, so I can't participate in trends. I can't use, you know, my favorite song because, you know, there's copyright on that song. I would advise anyone in this that has bought a ticket for today's masterclass and is watching this, that if you are using a business Instagram account, unless you've got a shop of like, oh, excuse me, too much ginger tea, unless you've got an account of more than a shop of more than 20 products, I would advise you to have a creator account. It doesn't make any difference, in my opinion, except that your growth and your reach will be better. It will be. Sorry, that it's not just an opinion, but it will be. And you can always go back to a business account if you would like, but there's just some limitations there. The reason I said that if you have got 20 products in a shop, maybe you have a toy shop or maybe you have a wellness shop, you can have shopping integration on a business account. So you can have that shop feature and people can shop directly on Instagram. Now, that is super important and very convenient. You can showcase products. People can save those products. That is super, super amazing. But in terms of boosting before a launch, I would just weigh up. Do you want to have that feature on your website and your Instagram, or do you want to grow your Instagram a little bit first and then maybe look at shopping integration later? Most people are still clicking a link to go on an external link because people trust websites of stores more than buying through Instagram, because you just never know who will be selling on Instagram. So that's just a little breakdown of what I said. It would have been really helpful if I had that up while I was talking. But the creator profile, individual creators, artists, influencers, content creators. Business profile, brands, companies, organizations. So you might work for someone or, those bigger brands. Again, not bad, just different. Today we're talking about how to boost your Instagram, how to grow your Instagram before a launch. My recommendation would be to switch to a creator account. Yeah, again, would have been so helpful if I had had this when I was reading. But if you need a minute to read it, choose a creator profile if you're an individual content creator. Choose a business profile if you represent a brand or a company. Okay. And again, I've already spoken a lot about this weird influencer or business owner type. The influencer is bad, the content creator is good. Let's just change our mindset for a moment, because the influencer, I used to think, I tried to grow my Instagram before in 2022. Or 21. I tried to grow my Instagram account then because I just had my first baby, and the content that I was consuming on social media was, very much that mummy blogger, influencer type vibe. And, they would be talking about their newborn baby routine. They would show you what products they were using. They were complaining about sleep. They were doing all of these things or talking about the new outfit that their child had. And I remember I used to watch them and engage with their content, and that witch wound, that sister wound that we often talk about in the holistic world, would come up. I would think things like, well, she's not even talking about anything that exciting. Why are people eating this up? Why are people engaging with her content? And I tried to emulate that. So 2 or 3 years ago, I would be on my stories talking often about, the struggles of motherhood, or today we're doing this, try and take a vlog. And I'm not saying that that's bad content, but I wanted to grow my Instagram following back then. And I thought that that was the way to do it. And people will tell you to show your face, talk to your customers. Absolutely. It's an amazing strategy. It works. Connection, relationships, so, so important. Instagram loves community. But it wasn't working for me in 2021. I would be like, oh, ask me a question. And then I'd be asking, like my sister, I'd be like, can you write questions in there for me? Because I wanted people to think that people were asking me questions. And sometimes I would ask myself the question and then I would answer it, talking back. And maybe people watched, maybe they didn't. My family and friends that love me are always going to watch it and respond. And I love that. That's amazing. But I'd written it in my diary, like in my journal, that I wanted to grow my following, and I was tracking my followers. This is a couple of years ago. I think I grew like 50 followers in a whole year, and I just couldn't work out what I was doing wrong. I was doing everything that these influencers were doing. I was doing I had very successful businesses before. Why is that business is so successful online? I've already done that. I had a lot of this coming up for me. And I know lots of people are thinking it, what is it? Why are they flocking to her? Or him, of course. So this time when I went to grow my Instagram following, which was around that March, April, when I was on 7,000 followers and I wanted to reach that 10 for branding, I really had to wrestle with this influencer, business owner. What am I going to be? What am I trying to achieve here? And what do I want? What do I want? And that leads me to this beautiful visual. Thank you, Canva. I feel like this whole presentation should be sponsored by Instagram, Canva. But anyway, hi, I'm here if you want me. About you. So that leads me to what I had to wrestle with. I know what I want to do. And for me, that was, I want my Oracle card deck to sell. I want to sell 500 copies of my Oracle card deck. And I'm going to remember, there's no sales funnel here today, but back of your mind, I've got to plug it a little bit. About you, about me, I had to hone who I was. Who am I? And I think having children really helped refine that process. But I had just sold my fairy business prior to moving to New South Wales. And I was wrestling with this. I'm no longer this performing fairy anymore. That means I'm a mummy blogger. That means I'm an influencer. That means I want to sell products that, someone's going to pay me to sell, but I also want to sell my own product. We've got to hone in. Bring it in, Marie. Bring it down. What are you trying to achieve? Who are you and what is your brand? It took me a long time to realize that my brand still revolves around magical content. That works for me. I was trying really hard to go away from that, but again, another masterclass on who you are and what your brand is. Lots and lots of coaches and programs will teach you about your brand and honing in on who you are. But that needs to be really clear on Instagram, because the algorithm needs to know who you are so that they know who to show your content to. All right, sounds really, really easy. But you need to consider, what are your personal values? What are your business values? What do you want to achieve? And most people will say, well, I just want to sell 500 copies of my Oracle card deck. I want my service to sell out. I want my course to sell out. Great. We need to go deeper. I want $1 million by dinner time. Absolutely. But we need some strategy. We need some clearly defined goals, and we need to clearly define ourselves, because Instagram is a highly visual video, photo, networking business tool. We need to hone in on who we are and what we want to show. So there are accounts that I follow that I love, that show their face, that talk a lot to the camera, and I love that. They are vulnerable, they are open, they share about their business highs, they share about their business lows, they share about their kids' sickness, they share about what it's like in the day of a business owner and a mum. And that is prime content. I am not saying that content does not work. Absolutely, that works. People love that connection. People love that vulnerable share. Oh my gosh, it's not just me who feels that way. For me personally, I really had to refine what my business was trying to achieve. When I refined that point of view in myself and who I was, and sharing my authentic self, then I'm able to drip in those little bits of personal moments. But at the moment, for those that follow me, you might notice that my account has turned a little bit more businessy, a little bit more content creatory, a little bit more of twirling in the castles, because I'm trying to build that brand. I'm trying to have people recognize that when they see someone, a grown woman, skipping away from the camera in a long dress, that is me, that's what I'm trying to, that's my brand, that's my image. So really consider about you and what you would like to achieve, and we can align your Instagram goals. Now, there is a way to do this that you may or may not have used before. I apologize if I'm telling people things that they already know, but content pillars are the main themes or topics that a brand consistently focuses on in a content strategy. And content pillars, very on brand for me in my castles, but content pillars are particular to social media. So this is a marketing strategy that exists only on social media, and particularly visually appealing social medias like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook to an extent, but Facebook is changing again. That's a masterclass for another day. So content pillars serve as the foundation for creating and organizing your content, ensuring that it aligns with your brand and your mission, but also what your audience would like from you. So you've got your product that you want to sell. For me, it's my Oracle cards. Oracle cards, witchy, holistic, wellness. This is my product. And what do I want to do? I need to create this brand, and I'm going to create some content pillars. This means that I'm going to create 4 or 5 different things or different content ideas or themes that reflect my mission and what I'm trying to achieve. So currently, because I'm doing this before I'm launching a product, you're not going to see a whole lot of that product on there, because I'm boosting that algorithm and trying to get the algorithm and Instagram to recognize my brand and what you're going to know me for. So we've got how to develop your content pillars, and I'm going to send you out a little, because I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm going to send you out a little content pillar page so you can have a little play. And again, I'm going back to that. We apply such amazing marketing strategy. Marketers apply strategy to every other area of life. It might feel, or not life, to their business life. It might feel a little bit funny doing this for Instagram because it's just Instagram, but clearly defining what your brand's core values are and your audience, and your current content and your future content will help you hone. So then when you are your mummy, if you've got aspirations for that mummy blogger, you want to talk about your children, but you also want to sell your product, you want to put a course out in the future. If you refine your content pillars and you define the themes and the concepts that you're going to talk about, then you can do that in different ways. So we're going to identify your brand's core values, understand your audience and what they want, analyze your current content, and choose your pillars. So for me, we've got my pillars. I've got my pillars there, and some of them are our physical pillars in a castle, but you can just brainstorm underneath each pillar. So if you're a doula, for example, you might have birth education or pregnancy education as one of your pillars. And underneath that pillar, you can go, right, once a week, I'm going to do an educational post on birth. Once a week, I'm going to do an educational post on an epidural. That content pillar is clear that your brand is going to talk about birth education. Your next pillar might be that you're going to talk about have like a tips to give, hospital tips if you're a doula that supports in the hospital. So you've got 4 or 5 content pillars and you don't really stray outside of those. Stories, posting on stories is a little bit different. You can add a little bit more sprinkle and of course, it's great marketing to suggest to sprinkle yourself into it, especially if you're the brand. But also, if you've got those pillars, you're not wondering about what content you need to post next because you've clearly defined what your brand is. If I don't know what I'm going to post, one of my content pillars is that I can just put on a long skirt, go out the front and run away from the camera. And I can do that myself. That I now know that that's a defining content pillar for my brand, is that I will put a little inspirational quote. And there are whole accounts that their content pillars are based like purely on inspirational quotes. Amazing, like so good, amazing. But I'm going to send you out this little content pillar template, which basically you can insert your pillar name, a brief description of what that content pillar is and what it represents, the types of content that you can do underneath it, the main objectives of that. So you can put in there to sell something or to increase brand awareness, and an example. Now, I like this template a little bit more than just a 30-day content planner. And I went back and forth about what to show you or what to give you, but I feel like the market is saturated with content planners or 30-day content challenges. And I'm not saying I might do one of them in the future, but I wanted to treat Instagram and I wanted to treat your businesses and your ideas and your brands with as much seriousness as the lecturers when I did marketing at university. Content pillars would take a whole term of narrowing down that niche. So I'll send that to you when I send out the recording. And this whole time I'm trying not to think that it's like not actually recording, but I'm pretty sure everything is recording. Can you imagine? Gosh, please, let's not imagine that. Oh, goodness. And that's just how we use the template. Now we've got our content pillars, right? It's a key part of our strategy. We're understanding the algorithm. We've got 4 or 5 content pillars that we're only going to post about those 4 or 5 topics or ways that we're going to post. This makes it clear to the algorithm and to you who they are. I just wanted to mention pain points, particularly in the current Instagram algorithmic world. Pain points is a marketing strategy to essentially address a problem or something that might be wrong or that you might identify with, a problem or a challenge that you or your target audience experiences. And it's something that your audience is looking to solve. You might see them, do you wake up anxious in the morning and then not eat breakfast? They've got that scary edge to them. Sometimes they can make you feel a little bit like, oh yeah, no, I want to know how I can wake up not feeling anxious. Yeah, for sure. Like click, tell me how with that long caption on that looping reel. I wanted to touch on pain points because in my content pillar setup and my marketing strategy for boosting the algorithm, I did not want to do pain points and I did not want to do controversial content. That was just me personally. Some people love it. And the algorithm, again, it's like the algorithm likes negative stuff. The algorithm just likes people commenting. So if people are fighting in comments, if people are being rude and abusive or disagreeing with your content or going, actually, that's not a peer review article, and the algorithm's going, wow, people really love this post. People really hate this post. But either way, they're generating that interest in that engagement, and it's making that pain point really blow up. So you will see social media marketers, people who say you can make $10,000 from one reel, their reels and their hooks are often pain point hooks. And the reason that they say that they work is because they do. That is not a strategy that I implemented, and I don't intend to, because my nervous system is too delicate for that. Some people were fighting on my comment your name and I'll give you a fairy name. Some people were fighting about some Eastern culture names, and I didn't notice for ages. And then I was reading these comments and I'm like, how are people fighting about her name? And I just like wanted to delete them all. It was just, that is not for me. And I think for soul-led, holistic businesses, mother-centered businesses, our nervous systems are already taking it from all sides. So that wasn't for me, but I will talk about them because that might be for you. And it can be an effective way to secure it. And I found it really interesting. There's someone that I follow who's absolutely beautiful. And she's always had beautiful content, but recently it's taken a how to regulate your child's nervous system and really honing in on the fact that if your child does this, they may be emotionally dysregulated. I'm really engaging with that content, just reading it, because I'm like, it's giving that emotional resonance. Reels that touch on common frustrations or challenges that your audiences face are more likely to be shared or saved or commented on. It's relatable. Viewers see that their pain points are reflected in their content. It builds that sense of connection and trust, and they feel understood, and they're more likely to engage with your brand. Again, I should probably look at this from more of a marketing point of view and not an emotional point of view. This does work. So examples of those viral hooks are things like, struggling to stay consistent when you're posting, or do you ever feel like you're not enough? It's marketing 101. It's old-fashioned, old-school marketing, but now we've got this visual of this like poor woman holding her baby. Do you ever feel like you're not enough? Do you ever feel like your milk supply isn't enough? Well, hang on. Sometimes I do. Oh my goodness. Like this person is, that's a hook. That's a hook on a reel that's going to hook, line, and sinker you in. And it does work. So it was worth me mentioning. It's got some other examples of pain point hooks, overwhelmed by social media. Follow me and I'll show you how to do it in 2 minutes while you're breastfeeding. Why isn't my content growing? I really wrestled with the fact that when I post on social media, when I was launching this class, I was like, I could talk about me and myself, and that's great. We all like to talk about ourselves. Look at me. I've gone from 7,000 followers to 21,000 followers in a few months. That's amazing. I found that easier to talk about than saying struggling with growing your content. It's hard, isn't it? I could have really honed in on that. Do people not care what you're saying? Like maybe your content sucks. It doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. We're just going to refine the strategy, but I'm just explaining to you why pain points work, and that is a way Often people will say you can ask Chat GPT or AI, say, generate me 20 viral hooks for my business that is selling candles, and make them controversial and hit those pain points. I don't know what, there are you can generate hooks that way, and often viral hooks are those more controversial ones. But I will stipulate, I didn't do anything controversial. I just really honed in on my content pillars, made my content, I hope, visually appealing, and really honed in on the message that I was trying to communicate. And that message isn't that I can fix you or I can grow your following for you, but it can help you, and hopefully you learn something from this little masterclass today. So we've talked about ourselves, we've refined our content pillars, we understand the algorithm. Now we need to understand the target audience. For me, it was just easier to give you a visual of what my target audience is. It is not these two ladies here in the background. Maybe it could be. But for me, they're into 3 distinct categories. You've got spiritual mums who want to come to my women's circles, who have mother's blessings. You've got people who love fairies, that love fantasy content, that want to see me in the forest, looking at the trees in a dress, and just with the overlay of a relatable quote. It's all they're there for. Simple. It's what they want. I'm going to give the people what they want, right? And then you've got your local people. So people who I know, people who might be my friends in real life, or who engage with my women's circles businesses, regularly, or are cheering me on in the sidelines, who are just going, hey, I love what you post. I love you. You're amazing. So there, I put them in like a local, even though some of them might not be actually local, but they engage with that sort of face-to-face content. You will also see that your local, or that core group, will engage with most of your content, regardless of what it is, if it's a reel or if it's a carousel. Your local sort of demographic will always be on your carousels. They see that. Whereas your fairy lovers, your spiritual mamas, they're gonna be a bit more on my reels, and that's how I'm going to cast my net out. Now that I've got my content pillars, I'm going to cast my net out to attract more followers or more people that are like this. Oh, that went really fast. And this is all part of our little strategy. And I did handwrite my strategy. I didn't do it beautifully like this on the, but I did do it in a bit of a mood board type way. So however you like to do your strategy, you've got your content pillar template, you've got your goals. Again, very easy to say, what's your goal? What's your goal? But a goal is really important. You're defining your strategy. You are defining your strategy. What do you want? March, April, I've said it a few times, my goal was written here beautifully. Increase the number of followers that I had to build the brand. It was actually to increase it from $7,000 to $10,000 to solidify myself as a trusted Instagrammer. You can be trusted at 2,000. Don't listen to me. There was absolutely some ego in there as well, but I was also sick of the algorithm, sick of sitting on this weird number, and I wanted to see if I could do it. Instagram also loves followers. So the more followers you have, or the more followers you attract, it will boost that algorithm. So even though it means nothing, you are not defined. I feel no differently having 7,000 to 21,000. I'm almost like, wow, is that it? It doesn't change me as a person. I don't feel any differently, but that was my goal, and I met that goal. I also wanted to refine my point of view, refine my niche, and to be able to stand out in the market. So as a spiritually goddess person that makes beautiful oracle card decks, I wanted that brand awareness, and I wanted people to start to know that they could expect this kind of content from me, and either stay or go, who knows. And while that is all happening, so the algorithm really likes that. It likes you to use their stuff, experiment with reels, carousels, try this reel, try that reel, try this story. The algorithm loves it. Yes, you're getting a few followers. Algorithm's loving that. While the algorithm is tickling along nicely over here, my third goal was to improve engagement with my current followers. That subgroup of I call local, but they're the people that are actually going to buy my Oracle card deck, that actually care about me a little bit, I hope, that know me a little bit better than just twirling in a castle. Yes, I love to twirl in a castle. That is my brand. I so want to be known for that. Like, who wouldn't? But also, I love to wear tracksuit pants, and sometimes I don't leave the house for 7 days. I can be both, but my brand, like, so that local group, improving that engagement. I have a close friends list on Instagram. They engage with that. When I want to vent about gastro or that I didn't sleep very well, they're the people that are like, totally get it. I'm here with you, sister. That's that demographic. And I wanted to improve my engagement with them so that they're not left behind. All right, we're here with the formula. My son really loved this background. Absolutely loved this background. In fact, I think that he did this. Cool, man. Cool, man. All right, so we've got the clear formula. It's very clear. It's very long and dense. It's not, but I'm going to send you 2 things after this, and none of which are a sales pitch. That rhymes. I'm going to send you the content pillar template, and then I'm going to send you the exact formula to grow your growth. It just ties together everything that we have spoken about today. So we're going to identify our ideal audience, and we're going to do this with research. Now, there are lots of things you can do to find out who your customers are and what they want. If you Google customer persona profiles, if you want to sit there with a pen and paper and go, right, who are my followers? Who am I trying to sell to? Am I selling to mums? What kind of mums? Are you selling your services to mums who want a doula in the hospital? Are you selling your products, your Oracle cards, to birth keepers or wellness facilitators that are going to be running women's circles that want to draw a card before their session? Identify who your ideal audience is, and you can do it as broadly as I did with your spiritual mama, your fairy lover, and your fairy lover, and gosh, and I haven't even read A Court of Thrones. Anyway, you can have broad demographic terms, but really hone in on them. Craft compelling content, really easy for me to say, but you've got your content pillars, and that's going to define what you're going to post about. And 3 to 5, and even just for a week, a month, you're only going to post about these few things. You're going to solidify that brand. You're going to have visual consistency. I have written investing in high quality visuals and maintain a cohesive aesthetic with consistent filters and editing style. That sounds really fancy. I'm not suggesting you need to go and hire a photographer. But maybe next time you're having family photos done, can you be like, can you just include a lovely headshot, or have your camera set up, taking photos, taking videos when you go out and have a picnic. I don't know. There are lots of ways to create compelling content, and some people create like really brash, you can see the camera in their face and you can hear that noise, and people watch it, so when you've got your content pillars determined, I want to create consistent, relatable content, which is me, out the back shearing sheep, that's not going to be what you're imagining when someone says high quality visuals. But guess what? People are watching that. People love that. Authentic storytelling. So you can share your personal stories and experiences to build that trust and connect with your audience. Using social media tools, engaging with stories and reels. Instagram, and they said this on my phone call, they like you to use all of their features. So using stories, carousels, reels, threads, even just having a thread account. I don't link to Facebook, but Facebook is included in all of that. Using polls, quizzes, question stickers. You can now do polls on Reels. You can now put notes on Reels. Using all of those new features will help the algorithm know that you like using their stuff and your customers like to use that stuff too. Building genuine connections, you all do that beautifully anyway. I will touch on collaboration here because collaboration can be really, really helpful. That's why you see so many giveaways of people who come together with all of their brands. It's a bit of work, might be a free product. When my product launches, I will probably do that because it is a nice way to get that little boost. And sending products or paying for services, paying for influencers or collaborators to look at your product. There is no shame in that. This is, again, we are treating this social media, it's a business. There is no shame in doing that. That will help. That does help. It might not, but it usually does. Analyzing your metrics for growth. We haven't talked about that. I'm going to finish with that shortly, but that is super, super important to review your content consistently and to look at what works and what doesn't work. What of all of your posts, do you know which post has the most views or impressions? If you don't know, I would urge you to go and have a look at what that is. You will probably start to realize, if you're looking at Reels in particular, that the Reels that do well have something in common. Now, often I will find that those Reels are either your pain point hook, a vulnerable share. So maybe you've shared about the struggles of breastfeeding. Those kind of posts get a lot of interaction. In terms of what the algorithm likes, it likes text overlaid of visual content, and that's because you're using all of their tools, and Instagram loves it when you use that kind of thing on your stuff. Like now you can add text over the top of your carousel photos, and you know, if you're not using that, I urge you to try and use it, because I bet you that that post will have more likes, because Instagram is like, oh, new feature, we're pushing this out. You know, that post I put up the other day of, did you know that Instagram has a note feature on Reels? That Reel has like 60,000 views, 500 likes. Why? Like, you know, why doesn't it like the stuff I put my heart and soul into it? Doesn't matter, because I'm just playing with the algorithm. I'm playing with the algorithm. I'm seeing what works. What does Instagram like about that post? Oh, actually, I was also dancing in the forest. Okay, my clear content pillars are there. Refining your strategy, consistently refining your strategy. So now I've had my growth. I need to work out what I'm going to do next. And I've had this conversation with my poor husband. You know, he's older than me. He doesn't understand Instagram and he doesn't want to understand, and that's fine. But does scroll and send me reels though. Hey, funny that. But I need to really refine my strategy now. I have met my objectives. I have met my goals for growth. And now I need to decide whether I'm going to continue to churn out the interactive reels that get, you know, I have 4 over 1 million now, where I say, comment your name and I will show you my favorite emoji. Am I going to continue to post those? Because the algorithm now knows that I do that and people like it and I get growth. I get growth. Do I want to continue that? Is that what I want to be known for? Maybe. And look, I'm not going to hate on anyone. If someone wants to go viral, absolutely. Let's do it. I've spoken a lot about engaging content. I just want to I think there's people commenting. Oh, you guys are so nice. I hope it's been helpful. I feel like, you know, when you do like a little passion project and you're like, I just want to share. So thank you. I will keep going though, because we still have a little bit of time. Sometimes when I am scrolling Instagram, doom scrolling Instagram, or sometimes when I'm creating content for Instagram, I don't know if this is a coined phrase. I've never heard anyone use it, and I don't want to Google it because I'm like, no, I came up with it. But ask yourself, when you're creating content or when you're scrolling content, do you resonate with this, or are you using it to escape? Both of these things are used to make, excuse me, both to resonate with something or escape from something is pretty much what the content on Instagram is about. When you're scrolling through and you're like, oh, look at that, the beautiful hills of Ireland. Yes, time flies is the caption or something, or live in the moment. And you're like, yes, look how beautiful that image is. My brain is taking me to the hills of Ireland. I'm mentally Irish dancing across the hill. That's me escaping. And I'm slowly, and then the algorithm goes, oh, she likes that. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's a beautiful sea. Look at that beautiful woman. Even this image. She's so serene. Yes, touch her hat. Look into the ocean. Oh, I am one with nature. I'm escaping. And that's great. It's amazing. Makes me feel good. Love it. Let's do it. Does your content do that? Or do you resonate with your audience? Do you post that viral hook that says, how I got my children to sleep through the night? Please don't. Please don't make that content. But people do. Please don't make that content. No, make whatever content you want. Last night was really hard. My baby woke 8 times through the night. Yeah, you know what? Mine too. Oh my gosh, I thought that was just me and my baby. Wait, that's actually normal infant behavior. Yeah, it's normal infant behavior. And someone will definitely comment that in there, 100%, probably me. But I'm resonating with that creator. Or I'm making a reel that makes you feel connected to what I'm going through or what we're experiencing. So, little tip here. Does your content resonate, or are you using it to escape? My content is primarily that you're escaping. It's more of that fantasy element. And I am totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. Do you really want to go viral? Now, if you ask me this, and if you ask me this today, yes, I did. I wanted to go viral. Again, we're getting out of this negative social media headspace. I wanted to go viral, and that's okay. I wanted to see what happened. I wanted that internal, external validation that what I'm doing and what I do, my brand, whatever, is good enough to go viral, right? That's the end goal. If you want to go viral, there is no shame. We're all the same. That is totally okay. You can go viral. You absolutely can. If you don't want to go viral, and lots of people will say absolutely not, they do not want thousands. If you open my Instagram now, I have notifications turned off because I literally get 10 to 20 comments a minute. And I'm not exaggerating. It's more than that. If I open it up 1 second ago, 2 seconds ago, 30 seconds ago, it is now at the point where I cannot respond to comments. Now, you might be like, oh, she can sit there on her high horse and say that. Absolutely. I would be thinking the same thing. But I did want to go viral. I wanted to see if I could do it. But I needed to understand my brand, my content, what my consumers or what people are interacting with. Because without all of those things and without that clear strategy, going viral, yes, it does happen overnight. Some people have weird things, but I don't want to go viral for something random that's not aligned with my brand. So if I have to reply, I don't have to, I'm not replying anymore, but if I have 50,000 comments of people asking me for a fairy name, that is in alignment with my goals. That's what I want to achieve. I want to build that brand awareness. People were messaging me in my DM saying, because I ended up feeling really bad that I couldn't manually get to everybody's names. So silly. It means nothing. I'm over it now. But at the time I was like, oh, people are waiting for a fairy name. So I created like a document that just said fairy names in Canva, and I just sent everyone a link saying, I can't get everyone, like I used automation software after it got to 1 million views, and I was like, oh, you can go here and have a look at and choose your own fairy name from this list of 50. And people were so grateful. They were like, thank you so much. But also people were saying things like, oh, well, I'm pregnant. This is great inspiration for like baby names. Thank you so much. And I'm like, hang on, that person might stay. She might not, but she might stay. And when I bring out my Oracle card deck, she might buy it. Maybe she won't. Again, my goal was growth, not selling. I can't tell you how to sell. If I sell all 500 of my Oracle card decks, I will do a class on how to sell from Reels. But I wanted to grow. I wanted to increase brand awareness. And I wanted to go viral. I wanted to go viral. Now, I wanted to have like a page on tips and tricks, but I feel like I've given quite a few tips and tricks like throughout this presentation. If you really want some tips and tricks, I can send you some, but I just want to spend the last part of this talking about your metrics, your insights and analytics. Is a bit like the conversation around the algorithm. It can be a little bit dense, but it's not. It's so not, because Instagram actually tells you what your customers like. So before, when I said, go in and look at your high performing reels or how many impressions you have, or et cetera, et cetera. But Instagram actually will tell you. They will say, these reels, click the 3 dots in the right-hand corner. These reels are doing really well. Create another one. There's actually a whole achievement like game thing in Instagram that you can play. People really like it. You get achievements, and Instagram rewards you when you get a certain amount of likes or views or whatever else. But if you click those 3 little dots in the top right-hand corner, you will be able to see what Instagram suggests you post. You can also, just going to find this here. My goodness me. So you tap the 3 little lines in the top right corner and you select Insights. I wanted to get this right because I was going to screen share my phone, but just my first masterclass, I just wanted to not have anything too fiddly that could go wrong. So you can explore the various sections like the overview, the content, the activity, and the audience to get those detailed metrics. Now, understanding your engagement rate, it's calculated by adding the total number of interactions, so your likes, comments, shares, and saves, and dividing it by your total number of followers, then multiplying it by 100 to get the percentage. For example, if you have 100 interactions and 1,000 followers, your engagement rate is 10%. And that's really good, by the way. That's really good. And that will be when people share their engagement rates, that you'll see the like plus 3,000% or minus, depending on what you're posting or not posting. The reach and impressions will give you insight. If you have high impressions and low engagement, and it might be time to rethink. So that reel I spoke about earlier that had like 50,000 views, that was like, did you know Instagram has a new feature where you can put notes on a reel? That had 50,000 views, lots of impressions, but it only had about 500 likes, which is not actually, it's not good, which means people saw it and they didn't engage with it, which tells me that that's not really my core business. And that's okay. That's totally okay, because no reels are a flop. You can experiment. I now know that by posting Instagram specific content or how to grow your Instagram type content, the algorithm is not really acknowledging me yet properly for that, like it is engaging me for providing my customers with fairy names or a text overlay inspirational quote over myself rubbing my pregnant belly in a forest. It will also tell you, if you have an external website link, how many people are clicking out of Instagram to go further to your shop or to your website. That is all in there. and this is all in there under your professional dashboard. Your creator account and your business account will have that professional dashboard. So it doesn't matter which kind of account you have, but you can see all of that analytics in there. It'll also, there's a new bit. If you scroll down in that section, there's a bit called inspiration, and Instagram will actually show you what is trending for your current audience. So when I scroll into mine, you click inspiration, and then it'll take you to another screen with everyone else's reels, lots of other reels, and you can see what your customers or people that follow you or engage with your content are actually watching as well. Now, I'm not saying this so that you can go in and copy them or look at the trends, but you can utilize those trends. So, we would have all seen recently the trending audio, it's an emergency, paging Dr. Beat, emergency. If I had a clothing shop, if I was selling clothes in any capacity, or if I was a stylist or something like that, or, I was just a model or something, I would be using that. And if I went into inspiration, my audience would absolutely be engaging with that trend. They would absolutely be engaging with that trend. And I would be there going, paging Dr. Beat, emergency, because that's not copying, that's a trend. And that's how we can utilize those trends. So if you don't know what's trending in your niche, if you go into inspiration, you can see what's there. That's if you want to play that kind of game, play that Instagram game. But Instagram will tell you what your followers like. They will tell you what performs well. And I urge you to spend some time in analytics. Instagram will say, these reels are high performing. These carousels are high performing. Look at what makes them high performing and recreate it. I think I shared publicly on my stories the other day that I will. So after like 30 reels, I'm not going to go and make another reel in the forest, particularly if I'm laying on the couch on day 4 of my hibernation, because I don't like to go out very often. I'm just going to go and find content that I already posted, a little 3-second video. I'm just going to put the new trending audio on it. It can be that simple. But I understand what my customers want now, or my audience wants. And I've applied all of this strategy, and I'm constantly refining my content. Alrighty. I think that is all of my talking, and everybody that was watching live, thank you very much, has got things to do. I will midday on a Saturday. I'm not quite sure what I was thinking, but I really, really appreciate those that join live, and I really, really appreciate those that are watching it back. But I just want to say I'm so, so, so thankful. I'm so grateful for you all holding me in this new space. Sometimes I get like hyper fixated on these topics, and I want to tell people, and I hope that I have given sort of cohesive understanding of the algorithm, Instagram, and what it wants from you. So in summary, I'm going to send you 2 things. I'm going to send you a content pillar template so you can play with that or not play with that. I'm going to send you just a little page of tips and tricks on there if you would like, just a little summary of some things that have helped me. And I will also send you this recording, and I'm pretty sure it's recording. The little red light is flashing on me. I've only just realized. That would have been it would have made me feel good if I realized that was that was the recording light throughout the presentation. And also, we've got to play the game. If you're watching this, if you found something helpful, tag me in a story or a post, whatever you feel comfortable with. Tag me, you sitting down with your cup of tea and having a little watch, and tag me in your stories at Mama Fairy, and I will put you all into a drawer, and I will do a little social media look at your Instagram and give you some more personalized feedback. I feel a little bit like, oh, nervous about doing that. I don't know if you want that, but if you do want that, tag me on Instagram. I really, really hope that you got something out of this. I feel like I've just done this big word information dump. But hopefully some of it resonated or escaped. If you take something away from it and you can really hone in on your brand, your product. I know everybody that has bought this class, it's almost 40 of you. I'm so excited. I love all of your businesses, and I really, really hope that I've been helpful in some way. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.